Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem was an abnormal experience for this cast of voice actors. The recording booth was packed full of improv. A ton of scenes were fully created out of thin air, and even Ice Cube had a lot to say about the talent behind the scenes. So let's get into it. Obviously, we can't really imagine anyone else playing these four iconic Mutant Mayhem turtles than these four perfectly cast teenage boys. But the audition process wasn't super cut and dry when it came to placing them into their respective turtle roles. Well, for Brady Noon, it pretty much was.
I already knew that was the only role that I was going to play. It never switched. I really full sent it with Raph.
Nicolas Cantu actually auditioned for Donatello originally, but ended up getting cast for Leonardo. It wasn't until the chemistry read that they started playing around with different roles for the guys.
You should try the role of Leonardo, so they threw that one my way, and I feel like I connected with it a lot more.
Micah Abbey originally auditioned for Donatello, but they considered him for Michelangelo, which he wasn't too sure about.
I'm glad they gave me Donatello because I love, and I truly mean this, I literally love the way that Shimon plays Mikey.
It was also pretty cut and dry for Shimon because he auditioned for Michelangelo and got a call back pretty quickly. He does this thing where after he auditions for something, he deletes everything right after. So when he got the call back, he was scrambling to remember exactly what he did to impress.
I'm like, wait, what did I do? I'm like, what did I do? I want to do it so I can nail this again.
So we know all the actors were in the same room with each other, but just how close were they?
Sometimes we were arm's length where we could push each other and fun things like that.
The scene where they were all talking over each other and stumbling over each other's lines were so on point because they were literally going off of each other's facial expressions and body language.
Be in the same room with each other and look at each other's reactions to things.
There are a lot of lines where they're talking about the physicality of the scene, and it's actually pretty on point to what's going on in the booth.
Hey, watch out! Like, move your leg. Like, that's because we were actually in there, like, interacting.
So literally, when you're seeing these Ninja Turtles pushing each other around on screen, that's probably pretty similar to what's going on behind the scenes. Speaking of, let's talk about a specific scene that was fully created out of thin air by Micah Abbey, Brady Noon, Nicolas Cantu, and Shimon Brown Jr. We know the movie is set in New York, so obviously the boys are gonna have a little fun making fun of your stereotypical New Yorker.
You were like, yo, can I get a bacon, egg, and cheese? And then Brady would add in yo, the Aki way.
The abnormal thing about the making of this movie is how much collaboration and improv there was. Normally in animated films, you wouldn't even get to meet your cast members until the day of the premiere, but for this, everyone was in the same room together, even at times a bit too close to each other. I'll be getting more into that later.
Shimon would add in there, and it just turned into this beast of a scene that came out of nowhere.
Ice Cube was stoked that he got to flex his improv skills. Most other animated films he's worked on were really rigid, and every syllable needed to be just right as it was written.
Y'all some little tortoises, huh?
Not on this movie. Most of the scenes were full of organic improv comedy.
You probably just wouldn't have if it was just, me just doing the recording, them just doing it.
Basically, Jeff Rowe and Seth Rogen would give everyone a rundown of what scene they were recording, and they were all free to just riff off of one another.
You wouldn't have those little, natural gems that land.
This doesn't mean that nobody knew their lines. In fact, it was the opposite. Everyone knew exactly what the script said.
When they know what they need to say, but they're ready to riff too.
Jeff Rowe is famous for his work on Gravity Falls, and his writing and directing won an Outstanding Achievement Award for The Mitchells vs. the Machines. He's also apparently the best guy to work with. He made everyone feel super comfortable and encouraged the collaboration process as well as the improv. He also knew exactly what to say to get the type of improv he wanted for the scene.
Be able to just say and improv whatever line that makes sense for that specific part of the scene.
Even again, from Ice Cube's perspective, this was super important because he was never giving the actors a hard time if they did something that wasn't perfect. He would just encourage and ask for more.
What I've realized, in working, you can never do no wrong.
And truly, for anyone who has ever had a boss, that's hardly ever the case. Bravo, Jeff. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is packed full of hilarious improv, a ton of physical acting, behind the scenes, and a talented cast and crew who are more than anything just grateful to be a part of the project. What were you most surprised to find out about?